This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Take two. Good morning. We have a very interesting subject on Daf Iyun Aleph, 71. Iyun Aleph Amud Beis. The Gemara said that regarding the mitzvah of Priya, Amarabba Bar Yitzchak Amarav Le'nitna Priya Smila Avraham Avinu. Rabba Bar Yitzchak said the name of Rav. Priya Smila was not given to Avraham Avinu. Priya was not given to Avraham. Now, let's explain what is Mila. Mila is you cut the foreskin. However, underneath the foreskin is a thin membrane, and the mitzvah of Priya is to uncover the thin membrane. That mitzvah was not given to Avraham Avinu. Now, that's what the Gemara says. That mitzvah was first given to the Jewish people when they crossed the Yarden in the times of Yehoshua. And this is darshaned from when Hashem told Yehoshua, make charvos tzurim. Why is he taking charvos tzurim? The Gemara says maybe it's to circumcise those who weren't circumcised, because the Jewish people did not circumcise in Mitzrayim. The pasuk says that those who left Egypt were circumcised. Anyone born in the Midbar were not circumcised. So the Gemara says no. The fact that it says shenis indicates there's an Iyun. The fact that it says shuv implies there's a mitzvah of Priya. Okay, so the mitzvah of Priya was not given to Avraham Avinu, which leads to many questions. Namely, we know there's a concept Gedola Mila shenichrasu aleh yud gimel brisais. Mila is great that 13 covenants were made. Well, those 13 covenants were made with Avraham Avinu. That was only said regarding the mitzvah of Mila. Does that apply to Priya, which came later? Furthermore, the halacha that one is chayiv kares for not giving a bris milah, that was only said regarding what was enunciated to Avraham Avinu. But let's say someone who doesn't do Priya, would they be chayiv kares? We know milah is doicha Shabbos, but that's only the milah that was given to Avraham is doicha Shabbos. What about Priya? We know we do Priya on Shabbos, but is that doicha Shabbos? So let's start with the Minchas Chinuch. Let's see if we can pull this up. Here. The Minchas Chinuch has the following question. In the mitzvah of Mila, let's see if we could find this. Mitzvah Beis. The Sefer Chinuch quotes the Gemara. He says, definitely Priya is migufa mitzvah, because the Gemara says many times, mal v'lai para ki l'lai mal. But nevertheless, it's not included in the conversation Hashem had with Avraham Avinu. It's learned out from Pasuk Yeshua. What do you mean? Ein navi rashoy l'chadesh davar. What do you mean? It's learned out from Sukkim in Sefer Yeshua. So the Sefer Chinuch says it must be halacha l'Moshe Misinai and asmachei akra. So Priya is halacha l'Moshe Misinai, but it's not explained in the pasuk. So we have the following question. He says, Iyun. We know there are two brachos that are made on the Mila. Before the Mila, the Moyo makes the following bracha. Asher kedesham v'tzvano ala Mila. And between the cutting of so the Moyo makes the bracha ala Mila, then he cuts, then the Avia Ben makes the bracha Asher kedeshanu b'kedusha Asher kedeshanu v'tzvano v'tzivanu lahachnisai b'vrisai shel Avraham Avinu. Now, why do you make the bracha before the Priya? At least this way it will be over lasiyasam, at least not of the Mila, but of the Priya. So the Moyo makes the bracha before the Mila, and the father makes the bracha before the Priya. But there's something very incongruous over here. There's something very difficult over here. Because that means you're making a bracha on the Priya, lachnisai bevrisai shel Avraham Avinu. Priya was not given to Avraham Avinu. What kind of bracha is that? Bevrisa shel Avraham Avinu? Are you serious? That's the worst time to make a bracha. Lachnis bevrisa shel Avraham Avinu is after the Mila, before the Priya, because Priya was not given to Abraham. Look in the Sefer HaChinuch. He says, Ayin B'Torah Yardeh Siman Reish Samachet Le'inyan Bracha. Here, Le'inyan Berchas Lachnisa B'Rishon Avinu. Shemaybe Shitazeh, maybe B'Shem Harash. Divarach Kaidem Arpriya La'achar Chituch. What about? It's not over L'Asiyasai because the Mila was already done. V'Shaper Hava over L'Asiyasam. Demal V'Loi Para Kiluloi Mal. V'Lachayra Kivan DeChazal Tiknu Hanusach Hamash Nichnas B'Rishon Shem Avinu U'B'Rishon Shem Avinu Loi Hoisa Priya. Now, even though Avraham Avinu maybe did the Priya, because Avraham Avinu did all the mitzvahs before he was Nitztaveh, but Lamaisa, it's not Brisa Sham Avinu. But by the bris, by the covenant of Avraham Avinu, there is no Priya. Ve'echav bracha lahaba ala Priya. That's the kasha of Minchas Chinuch. How could you make a bracha on Priya, lachnisa bevrisha shel Avraham Avinu, when Avraham Avinu was not Nitztaveh on the Priya? So the Chasam Sofer has an amazing approach over here in Shas Chuvas Yaradea Siman Reish Mem Tes, which is not unanimously held. So let's see if we could see a few points in the Chasam Sofer over here. Firstly, he says it's shver, because if Mila does not include Priya, so fine, have Allah misina that mov par kilo mal, but Priya is not mentioned in the Parsha of Avinu. Even though, by the way, the Mizrahi says the word es is marbe Priya, he argues on our Gemara. That's not what our Gemara says. Because our Gemara says Priya was not given to Avraham Avinu. Now the Gemara in Shabbos learns has a kasha that let the Torah write Mila and learn out everything from Mila. Meaning, why can't we learn out from Mila that asay is doichel sheish by kares? And the Gemara says, because Mila is much greater than other mitzvahs. Shekei nichrasu aleh yud gimel brisais. Mila, Hashem made 13 covenants on the Mila. What are you talking about? Priya tochiach. Hashem made no covenants on the mitzvah of Priya. And it's still doicha Shabbos. Okay, so that's question number one. Why don't we learn out Priya from Priya? Aseh doicha sheish b'kares. Next thing. The Gemara in Yevamos. You ever hear of Masechta Yevamos? The Gemara in Yevamos and Daf Heyamid Beis wants to learn out Asay Doicha Lois Asay from Pesach and Mila. Pesach and Mila are Doicha Shabbos. And the Gemara says you can't learn out from Mila and Pesach. Why? Because Mila and Pesach are special. Because if you don't bring a car in Pesach, you don't do Mila, you're Chayiv Kares. Really? Interesting. I have a good question, says Chasam Sofer. Learn out from Priya. For Priya, you're not Chayiv Kares. What do you mean? Priya is part of Mila. No, it's not. It's Allah Chumash Sinai. Priya is not part of Mila. Priya was not given to Avraham Avinu. Only what was said to Avraham Avinu, you're Chayiv Kares. Priya was not said to Avraham Avinu. So that's question number 2. Learn out from Priya that Asay is Doicha Lois Asay. The Gemara says you can't learn it out because you're Chayiv Kares. Not for Priya. Okay. So the Chasam Sofer says a very important approach over here. And that is, Avraham Avinu was told he has to cut the arla. What's the arla? Depends. For Avraham Avinu, the arla was just the foreskin. But Hashem later clarified that the mitzvah of Mila now encompasses the full removal of the arla, which is the thick foreskin and the thin membrane. So Priya is not a separate mitzvah. Priya, Hashem was megala that the definition of Arla is not only the thick foreskin, but it includes the Priya as well. In other words, Avraham Avinu's Mila in a Chanami was only Mila, it wasn't Priya. But Priya is not an added mitzvah. Priya is redefining what the mitzvah that was originally given to Avraham Avinu was. Hence, if someone doesn't do Priya, they are Chayiv Kares. Hence, you'd give the just like Mila, their 13 covenants, so too Priya, because Priya is not a separate mitzvah. Priya is part and parcel, a redefinition of what Arla is. Says the Chasam Sofer, this is very important words. Let's see. One second here. There's somebody has a good way of saying over this Chasam Sofer. Here, look over here. Ela al kachach tzarich laimar. Tekim lehu l'Rabbanan. You have to say the Rabbanan have established the Priya nami ikri mila. Priya is called mila. V'hainu midaramza Yeshua. So once it was hinted to Yeshua, b'shuv mul es bnei Yisrael shenis. Perish mila shenis dahainu priya imkein priya nami hainu mila. It's learned from moil es bnei Yisrael shenis. V'chein man diyalef le mishuv musav almul de basrei, that he should go back and circumcise them again, although they're already gemalat, which is the priya. If so, Priya is also called Mila. And then the Chasam Sofer, V'taima nirali, Misham de Mila ein perusha hacha chituch v'krisa klal. Mila doesn't mean to cut. If Mila meant to cut, then Mila would be cutting the foreskin, and Priya would be a separate mitzvah. Because Priya you're not cutting, Priya you're uncovering. In other words, if you learn the word Mila means to cut, so then Mila would be the cutting of the foreskin, and Priya would be a mitzvah noisaf. However, Mila does not mean cutting, the Chasam Sofer says. It means removal, ela hasaras hadavar. Like the Targum says on the Pasuk, Mal Hashem lekecha slavavcha, ya'adi tipshus libecha. He will remove the foolishness of your heart. Even though the word Mila regarding the heart is a borrowed term, referring to Arlas Halev, a lashon of Arlas Habasar, nevertheless, both of them is just a lashon of removal. So, according to the Chasam Sofer, the word Mila means removal, and therefore it equally refers to the cutting of the thick foreskin and the uncovering of the thin membrane. Now, says the Chasam Sofer, there definitely is kares on Priya. And there are 13 covenants on the Priya. Ela shakadosh baruch hu karas bris im Avraham. God sealed a covenant with Abraham. Sheyaser hu ubanav esarlasam, that they should remove their arla. V'chayvel of kares. But what's an arla? Amna mahu arlasam. So that is dependent on the giver of the Torah to define at a given time what the definition of arla is. Amna mahu arlasam darmasan noisina tois v'ashmai. V'ad shaloi nitna Torah, before the Torah was given. Amar hu yisbarach she'or harachat tachton eina b'chal arla. The Lord said before the Torah was given that the thin membrane under the arla is not arla. Uchshenosana Torah, when he gave the Torah, nischadesh halacha, the halacha was innovated, shegam zeh b'chal arla. And therefore, v'harei karasnu yud gimel brisos, there are 13 covenants, lahasri menu mashashmai arla, to remove that which is called arla. And everything is great. And now we understand why you could make lachnisai bevrisai shalom. This is The Priya is the bris of Avraham Avinu. But Avraham was not nitztaveh. Yes, he was. Avraham was nitztaveh to remove, not to cut, to remove the arla. Now we have a new definition of arla. So this is the bris of Avraham Avinu. And if you don't do it, you're chayiv kares. And the 13 brisas were sealed on it. I just want to mention that this is certainly not unanimously held. Many Achronim hold that the Priya is a mitzvah noisefes. And the famous words of the Beis Halevi seem to also be in disagreement with this Chasam Sofer. Namely, the Beis Halevi has a chakira in Parshas Lech Lecha. Beis Halevi ala Torah. What is the purpose of Mila? Is the purpose of Mila to remove some kind of chisaron? Is a arla a mum, and a Mila you remove the chisaron? Or is it some kind of addition of kedusha and a hisafas maila, like any mitzvah saseh? And Beis Halevi says both are true. The mila, the cutting of the foreskin, is a removal of a mum, but it also adds kedusha. And he says that you could say these are the two parts of mila. That the mila is the removal of a chesaron and removal of a mum, and the priya is a toisefes maila and a toisefes kedusha. And again, the Beis Halevi seems to be saying that there are two distinct mitzvahs that are not really related. That priya is not hasaras arla; it's another maisa that was not nitztaveh to Avraham Avinu. But again, for today's show, we're learning the approach of the Chasam Sofer, that the mitzvah of priya merely expanded the definition of arla that was given to Avraham, and therefore priya, we could answer the Minchas Chinuch's question: how could you say lachnisa b'vrisa shel Avraham Avinu after the Mila before the Priya? Avraham Avinu was not nitztaveh on the Priya, and the answer is Avraham Avinu was nitztaveh to remove the Arla, and now we have a new definition of what Arla is. Okay? Very good. Shkayach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.